care, I'ma be a trillionaire like.
Welcome to the I Love Recruiting Podcast with your host, Adam Roach.
Everybody, welcome back to the I Love Recruiting Podcast. I am your host, Adam Roach. And if you're watching and the stream live in the Art of Recruiting, it is Tuesday at 10 o'clock, and I have a very special guest here. He's a near and dear friend of mine. This is someone that I've looked up to for a while. Wow, when I first started my recruiting journey, this was a mentor of mine. And now we've become good friends and actually business partners, which I will share here shortly what that looks like, everybody. So everybody, give Michael Brown a big old welcome. Michael Brown, welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, welcome. Glad to be here, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. So everybody that's watching in the Art of Recruiting right now, if you have questions, go ahead and type out those questions. I will get to those questions towards the end here. But before we get to questions, Michael Brown, tell us a little about yourself. Who are you? You were born, and then what happened?
Man, do we have that much time, Adam?
We got 30 minutes now.
Well, hey, born and raised right here in the great state of South Carolina. Grew up in Greenwood, a little small city, and started my path in sales and went into corporate America for years there. I was with Bell South, now AT&T, and my experience in real estate was as an investor. Some buddies of mine played football at Clemson. We still invest together now. 35-year relationship that I had the corporate job, was able to go to the bank and get the funding for us to go build some houses.
Right.
So we started building and flipping back in the mid 90s. And so that was my experience getting into real estate and investing in real estate. And, this took off into full-time real estate in management, as you know, in 2012. In a management recruiting role, and then stepped over to the largest brokerage here in the Greenville area. I had about 450 agents, and we did $1 billion in production. So that was a great year. And then, my wife was in the business. She was in pharmaceutical sales, and we just prayed about it, thought about it, and decided to launch our business together as a married couple team here in the upstate of South Carolina. And we're continuing to invest and do some flips with several investors, and started into small development this year that we're really excited about. So
right,
that's kind of a nutshell of me, brother.
There you go. Now, that was a very, very modest intro, my man, because you've accomplished a ton in your life. And let me back up to 2013. So 2013, I leave. I just taken a team leader role in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I moved down to Charleston, South Carolina. I was a team leader here for Williams' office. And I got to meet Michael. And Michael is a big presence. He's a big personality. And this guy's kind of cool. He's at the top of the region in recruiting. And then I go to what Keller Williams calls their family reunion. And there was this man up on stage singing the national anthem. Is that what you were singing, the national anthem?
Actually, I think it's like a worldwide national anthem. It's not really our national anthem, but they wanted to recognize all the different countries that year. That was in Dallas. You remember the cheerleaders came down the aisle and all that fun stuff. So that was a neat experience.
So he's a big personality, everybody, and that's I'm excited to have Michael on today. And then from there, you were at the top of that region, recruiting, and I just kept looking up to you and learning more about how you were doing what you were doing. And I'll tell you, and everybody listening and everybody watching, what you're going to hear from Michael in the next 26 minutes is authenticness. This man builds relationships through authentic communication, authentic question asking, a real value in the space of building trust with the people that are across from him. And that's what I took right from you from the very beginning. So let's start there, man. How'd you develop that? How do you build such fast rapport with someone that's in the room right across the table from you?
Adam, I didn't say, growing up, my father is a minister, retired minister. So I grew up a PK. And, for years traveling and with him and going to hospitals.
Preacher kid, right?
Preacher kid. That's right. But, he is such a people person and a big personality as well. I get that, from him, and just see him, no matter if it was the wealthiest person that came to the church, or it was the lowliest of people that came to the church that was struggling to get by on a Social Security check. He treated everyone the same as the good book teaches us to do. And, and seeing him engage with them and asking questions, it really, I think that was probably the beginning of how I learned to build relationships, no matter the environment, no matter, who I was around. It's fit into that environment by, like, as you said, authentically, thinking about them, how can I, with the time I have with this person, give back a portion that God's given me, whether it be in a few words of wisdom or just somebody to listen to, or establish a relationship like you and I have been able to do.
Right.
And that's how I live my life, man. It happens to work out. It transitions into business, but I love treating people, the golden rule, like you want to be treated.
Right. Yeah. And then as you do that, as you build that, I will also say that your follow-up game is second to none out there. I mean, brother, how long have we known each other? We've known each other for nearly 10 years. And we had some separation there from the standpoint of just time. And I'd get a text once a month, once every 2 months, just checking in. How you doing, Adam? Just checking in. Or you'd send me a little text prayer, right? Just, hey, just praying for you today. Your follow-up game is insane. So I want to go back though. So now when you were recruiting, was the recruiting part an easy transition for you, or was that something you had to work into to actually get someone to move, if you will, to a space that you wanted them to be a part of? Walk us through the recruiting part of your world.
Adam, I think for me, I first came into the organization I was brought into here in the upstate. It had been, I don't want to say in shambles, but it had been some down years. Was an unattractive office location, was down to about 89 agents, had a broker in charge that did not want to grow. She left pretty quickly after we kind of painted the vision. But I was blessed with that, in that position, to have an OP that said, for 90 days, I just need to sink into this business to learn, where is everybody? What's our current state? Where do we want to be? Create that vision, get to know everybody that was currently there, feed into them, get all their complaints out of the way. I wanted to hear all the good, the bad, the ugly, and the ugliest in that first 90 days. So now I had a really clear vision from what the agents thought, what the staff thought. And now we together with that, with KW, the model is they have that agent leadership council,
right?
Which is, getting them on board and building that vision together. What was the key to that early success, Adam? And I think, that was the foundation that we built on going forward to take that office to where it was.
Right. So I think what I heard you say there is you built the vision.
Yeah.
Right. You built the vision, and that helped recruit.
Yep.
Right.
For sure. And
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, even
go.
Even down, Adam, and maybe some of the folks listening, their physical plant, their office space. They're thinking, man, this is how can I recruit to this? And some, are even getting away from the offices. But at the time, for us, it was an older warehouse. It was not the nicest of offices. So, with leverage, I brought in the lender, brought in an attorney. We repainted the training room, bought new furniture for the training room, fixed up the lobby. And I had framed about the size of this print you see behind me here, coming soon, and photos of what the office was going to look like.
Right. So
we didn't have a location. I didn't have blueprints. And people would say, when's that happening? And I would say, as soon as you help me bring somebody in that we can get there. So where you moving to? We're still looking for locations. We got to find the one that's right for us. As soon as we get to this level, we'll be able to get that office. And we kept just that office, working toward it, getting people on board, because that was a huge negative that I first was hit with by the people that have been there for a while. We've been told we're getting an office. And so I really got the ownership to agree and buy in. Once you get to this level, and we have, the cap management and that terminology that KW folks would know, or the budget would allow, that it made sense that we got that brand new office and we built it.
Love it. So everybody, I want you to hear what he just said. Number one, he had a vision, right? And he shared the vision through an actual visual. And then he created curiosity, right? So people would ask, hey, listen, tell me when, tell me what, tell me how, right? So the fact that they were engaged in the vision meant that they were relatively bought in. because they were asking questions. And then secondly, your call to action was, we'll get there as soon as you help me grow.
That's right.
Right. And you help me grow by sending me a referral of a co-op or of someone that you know would be good in real estate and so on and so forth. Right.
Yeah. And it's still a line from the movie. Jerry Maguire, help me help you.
Sure. Yeah.
Because in that profit share model, in essence, you're really helping yourself. Yes, you are helping the office. You are helping our business. But by helping us, you're really helping you more than anybody.
Well, but here's the thing that we can say to even independent brokers that are listening right now, because again, there are a ton of them in the art of recruiting.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have a profit share or a rev share model or anything that has to deal with compensating the individuals for sharing,
right.
Help me help you works, right? Because watch this, gang, when you are recruiting, and Michael can attest to this because he brought in some really big players. When you are recruiting, the level of the environment increases as you recruit producing agents that then help the other agents in the office want to do bigger, better, faster things. Would you agree?
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, success breeds success, Adam.
Love it. And I'll never forget, Michael, and I know we talked about this, you felt the same way, and people listening have probably felt the same way that are building their offices. Their agents will come up to him and say, why are we growing so fast? Why are there so many agents now? And I used to always walk them over to a board that was our top 10 basically, but I changed it from top 10 to say, where do you rank? Yeah. And if they were ranked number 1 or 2, of course they felt like, they were the what, right? They thought they were the man or the woman. And then as I recruited someone to replace them in that spot, and then they moved down to 3 and down to 5 and then down to 8, they got mad, but they also got a little competitive, which meant it pushed their production too.
True.
Yeah. So keep going. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, and you bring up a good point too. I'd say to anybody out there, part of, I think my success back then as well was in the relationship building is, I love this term. You got to close and lock that back door because you may be, you're working so hard to recruit and get new people in. You don't want to ignore and lose the current people that you have that got you to where you are. And I do feel sometimes in certain environments, we can forget that we got to go out and, man, I got to hit my gross. I got to hit my net. I got to get these many. Well, what about the folks that are producing for you? And I think in the past 12 months, we all been hit with business a little differently. Some areas have been tighter than others with COVID-19. So how do you touch those people? How are you talking to them? What value are you adding to their business? I would challenge everybody that, if you're not seeing people, you pick up the phone. You got to block some time to reach out to John and Jane Doe. How are you doing? What's happening? How's the kids? Are they back in school? Hey, what can we do here at the office for you? Is there anything additional you need? If they're a high producing agent, they may be just at their wits' end that they haven't leveraged and started building a team yet. Hey, maybe they need help with a brand new agent to go show some houses for them one weekend, or maybe they need help if the area is allowed to have open houses. Hey, is there anybody that we'd like to hold an open house for you to get that listing that you've been struggling with? I've seen it's been on the market for 25 days. I've got 3 people lined up to do the open house for you. Do you mind if we do that? Just things like that. And like, wow, thank you so much. I'm sitting here trying to get math done with my 6th grade. I didn't even think about having an open house. Wow. So I think feeding into the people you currently have, because that, Adam, is going to keep your pipeline full of other people. When those agents will look back and remember that when I was struggling with COVID-19 or the first of 2021, wondering what the heck I'm going to do, guess what? My broker, my manager, my team leader, reached out to me and said, man, I know, what can we do for you?
Real care calls, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Real authentic care calls. Yeah.
Keep going. One thing we did and no matter how big we got, Adam, this we put into place in our office now. We did sales meetings every other week. That it was, that was my background. I wanted to do them. I wanted to see people touch them. But we got to a point that we had it down to a science. We fed them every time. Every day we had a lunch. Me and the staff would serve or always make sure we were the last in line to make sure the agents could physically see that we're here to serve you.
Love it.
And then the other is we split the list up either among ALC or my staff and myself we called every single agent for every meeting. It was almost, we made it fun, like a contest. Okay, call your 30, say a minute to 30, you're gonna get to commit to coming. And we came up with a script. Hey, Michael wanted me to call you, let you know that Thomas from the home inspection company is gonna be here sponsoring the lunch, but we've got some important things to talk about Tuesday. Can you be here at 11? He'd love to see you. And our attendance was off the charts because of doing things like that. And then we'd have a guest, you know, so we could bring in an agent that was either thinking about getting into the business or an agent with another company that was either available for that visit, or we had all, you know, after hours training as well.
Love that. Love it. Love it. Love it. So, okay, let's pause. So we went from authentic recruiting, building a vision, creating curiosity, to now going into the space of retention. And retention is massively important. One thing I wrote down that I paraphrased: you won't know what they need until you ask.
Exactly.
Right. You won't know what they need until you ask. That was really, really good.
Hey, if you're not asking, somebody else is, Adam.
That's very true. Go ahead and spell that out for people. Maybe they don't understand what that meant, Michael.
No, what's that mean? If you're not talking to them, don't think they're not getting recruiting calls behind, you know, promise you.
Yeah.
You know, so make sure you're re-recruiting your people more than anybody else would ever have a chance to.
I'll share with everybody a little system that we had created. It was called a 90, 60, 30. And we knew 90 days before their anniversary is when we were going to start touching them really heavily. Sure, we did our care calls, but we also did this. In 90 days, my team would go out and they'd say, okay, fine, let's look at what's going on in their Facebook world. At 60 days, let's pay attention to what's going on in their production. And at 30 days, let's have them meet with a leadership member, right? And so I'll never forget, we had someone in our organization that loved Dalmatians, and it was her 90-day start period. And one of my team members saw it on Facebook that unfortunately one of her dogs had passed. That was a Dalmatian. And she saw this beautiful picture that the agent had posted on there from a memorializing standpoint. Took the picture, sent it somewhere. I don't even know where she sent it. Got it painted, had it painted, this picture. And just for sake, gave it to, not from me, staff member, gave it to that agent, and she just broke down into tears, said this was the most amazing thing. No one's ever done anything like this for me. She was never going to leave after that. Right? For sure. So I love that. Awesome. Okay, let's transition now. Okay. Because you're a value provider to so many, to your family, to your church, to your clients. And now in the coaching space, right? So you are now helping agents in the recruiting coaching space. However, before you got into that, you were also a coach somewhere else. Catch us up on your coaching background.
Yeah, so I think I touched on corporate America, Bell South, which is now AT&T. I was had a great experience there working with them, unbelievable training, and this really ages me, Adam. But in 1998. 98 now, okay, is when I went into management with Bell South. And it was that same year we had a vice president that was a former football player at Georgia Tech, great guy, that he loved the idea of coaching. And so he changed our entire business model, that we weren't called managers, we were called coaches. And they were, you know, Coach of the Year awards or Coach of the Region awards. We had to do coaching guides every week with all of our sales agents that were there, and you had a team, you know, that's used now. But I tell you, man, the training we went through then, and remembering back to that skill wheel model, you know, that some people, they have the skill to do whatever business you may be in. You know, they could be a great CPA if you have an accounting firm, but their wheel is very low because they have enough clients. They're happy making their $60,000 a year. You know, they're not going to change much unless you're able to coach them up and see what their production level will really be and what that would mean to them. And then there's others, man, they're off the charts with wheel. You know, they may be the worst accountant ever, but by George, you put a stack of paperwork in front of them and they will get a calculator and start adding up all day long. And they may make some mistakes along the way, but their will is off the charts. I don't know why I'm using an accounting analogy unless we're thinking about taxes coming up. But that model really kept I keep that still to the day, thinking about what is this person's skill level. And
Mhm.
some, that can be with pride, especially for us guys, not being sexist, but we're too prideful sometimes to be vulnerable enough to say, man, I really need help in this.
Right.
But Adam, I think what I have found when it comes to having a coach and you're putting money on the line for someone to hold you accountable,
Right.
that pride kind of comes down a little bit, because I'm, when I my coach, I'm like, hey, I'm paying for this coach. If
Mhm.
I'm not honest with this person, what in the heck am I doing? I might as well just put $1,000 out the window and throw it away if I'm not going to listen to what they do, hold myself accountable through what they're asking me to do, and to
Mhm.
be open and honest with what I need help with.
Right.
So that we are skipping around a little bit, but that model I stick to today is that what's the skill? What's the skills we can work on together, as your coach?
Mhm.
And then the will, that's a tougher one sometimes to work on without insulting people, to just say, man, you're just lazy. But those two things there I would keep in mind with everyone.
Well, here's what I would say also to everyone listening. Pause that and go back to listen to what Michael just said. Because when you listen to, even if you throw this in the recruiting standpoint or the retention standpoint, if you measure skill and will, you can actually help them and know where to point them, right? So their skill, as you said, their skill level may be high, but maybe they're comfortable,
Yeah.
right? So maybe you
Yeah.
got to pull out a little more motivation to help them get to ultimately where they truly want to be. Boy, I think I shared this the other day with you. Craig Groeschel, he crushed this. Let me share this with everybody. This was his definition of where is it? It was his definition of discipline, Michael. And he said discipline. Oh my gosh, don't get dead air, Adam. Hold on. Oh, I'm losing it right now. Discipline was knowing what you want versus what you want right now. Here it is. Discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now.
Ooh.
Discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now. I might have shared that on some past shows here. However, that was so good. And when you're
Yeah.
talking about skill and will, they might be extremely skillful and they may not want something right now, but they're not focused on what they want going forward, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. So how do you, what in the space of will,
Yeah.
what would you say? How do you help someone that maybe just doesn't have that will?
I think some of that, Adam, I found is getting to what is the why
Mm.
that really motivates them.
Mm-hmm.
And it may be John Doe is a great accountant, and he's been making 60,000 for the last so many years. He thinks that's all he can do. But now John has 2 kids,
Mm-hmm.
and 2 of those kids are going to college in 5 years.
Yep.
And so maybe drilling down to, John, I know, based on our time, what we've talked about, you're a great accountant. You have very few errors that are ever found in your work, and you're just riding along. But as an accountant, you crunch numbers. How are you going to help? How are you going to pay for this college in a few years?
Mm-hmm.
What's that look like for you? I mean, if you could get 15 or 20 extra $1,000 a year for the next 5 years, what kind of difference would that make in the lives of your children? Now, I obviously short stepped at something there, Adam. That's drilling down in our time together previously to know that is his passion, is his children.
Right.
That he's making 60,000 a year. He's happy with that because he likes to be the first one out the door at 4:30 or 5 o'clock to go get those kids and do soccer, tennis, whatever. That is his passion. It's not his work. So, there's a, I think that's the easiest way to get the will is to try to see the why, and then can we help them improve that?
So I want everybody to hear this. So Michael just shared with us how to go find some motivation, how to find to move their willpower, if you will. Even though there's been many books written about that willpower doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
However, here's what I want everybody to take away from what Michael just said. Don't be afraid to ask tough questions, right? Seriously, don't be afraid to ask tough questions. When you know someone's motivation and you have it in front of you, be sure to use it, right? Be sure to use that motivation and ask a tough question. And that question can be simply just that. Hey, Michael, you told me your daughter's getting ready to go to Clemson, man. Congratulations. Just out of curiosity, you got it all paid for yet?
Right.
right? And let them get a little squirmy.
Yeah.
Right. So when you're in that recruiting space and or retention space, right, it's
Yeah.
okay to ask tough questions. And even in the coaching space. So I know for your coaching clients and my coaching clients, if I don't get them uncomfortable on a call to motivate them and move them a little bit, I didn't do my job. Would you agree?
Adam, early on, maybe we haven't established that relationship like you and I. You could ask me anything. You and I have that kind of relationship at this point. We've known each other so long. But, I found this to be very powerful. Even, in my real estate business, if I'm on a hard listen appointment with somebody, I say these very words: Adam, I'd like your permission to ask you a tough question.
Good one. Yep.
And I'm doing this out of concern and from my experience. So this isn't to make you feel bad. This isn't to make you uncomfortable. Well, it is to make you a little uncomfortable, but it is really at the end of this, I want to help you. So here's the question. And Adam, doing that, I've never had somebody say, no, you can't ask me a question. No, don't ask me a hard question. And I've never had anybody get mad at me for that. Because I asked your permission. If you didn't want me to ask, you should have said, no, don't you ask me no questions.
So I guess we could chalk that up to the permission approach, right?
Yeah, sure.
There's probably the permission approach. There's the curiosity approach. Here's what I would challenge everybody that's listening to this on the I Love Recruiting podcast. And if you're watching this right now live in the Art of Recruiting, how many times in the appointment do you actually ask a question that actually makes you uncomfortable to ask the question, right? Here's what we do too. I want to go ahead and share this with everybody. We might have the courage to ask the tough question, Michael. Yeah. And then sometimes because we got uncomfortable asking that question, we answer it for them. We don't let the silence do the heavy lifting. Have you ever experienced that?
Yes. I think that's the toughest thing about coaching, Adam, is, if we know the answers, is not giving the answers.
Totally. Yeah.
That is the toughest thing, is that hold back there. And I use a wall analogy. If you got a wall and you've got some people that you're coaching, and we've got to get around that wall. Their goal is behind that wall. Now, some may take longer to go around the corner and there's a longer trip to go. Some may just, drill underneath and dig underneath. Some may try to climb over, and some may just try to bust right through it. But 3 feet to the right was a secret door that if they just knocked 3 times, the door would have opened up and they could have walked right through it. We know that as a coach, but we can't give them that. But because we help them through that wall that time, when the next wall comes up and we're not there, where are they going to find that secret panel?
Yeah.
So, I think, how do we coach those around that wall? And they all got around it, but they found a way. And I think that to me puts coaching in a nutshell. Is I can tell you how to get through the wall because I'll have to go through them myself, and I'll help you any way I can. But we've got to coach you around, under, over, through the wall. So every time you face one, you're going to come up with the problem solving skills to face it.
And the beauty of that, Michael, too, is in the coaching space, that's our job, right? That's our job, is to push you to find solutions and also to help you from time to time. Recruiters, I want you to hear this. That is not your job. Your job is not to solve the problems. Your job is to build relationships, add value. Over time, they'll have self-discovery that you are the valuable piece that they have been missing in their world, right? Yeah. Not the resource, because again, we want leverage resources there. We will build the relationship based on curiosity and permission approach so that they have self-discovery, that they come back to us and say, holy cow, I know that Michael, I know that Adam, I know that whatever organization it is will help me get to ultimately where I want to grow to faster, not go to, grow to, right?
Yeah. Adam, man, that's strong, brother, because I'm going to tell you, if you become the go-to, it will burn you out so quickly. If you're solving everybody's problem. Woo!
Down you go. You ain't coming back.
I have been there before and lost my hair accordingly. So yes,
I guess maybe we've both been down that hole before then, huh?
Yeah, we're so giving, we just gave it all. But yeah, man, that's such powerful words right there, man.
Yeah, for sure. Well, gang, here's what I want to do, because we're right at the bottom of the hour. I want to keep everybody on their time block as we need to stay on our time block. I want to share some exciting news. So the I Love Recruiting organization, as many of you know and as many of you are a part of, are in our coaching space. And so we offer one-on-one coaching. We offer group coaching. We're actually starting our new group coaching session a week from this coming Friday. It will be the 12th. Let me make sure that that is correct. The 12th of, that's correct, the 12th of February, time to be determined. If you want to get part of the group coaching, go to groupcoaching.iloverecruiting.com. You can sign up there. Here's the new announcement. So Michael Brown is going to be an I Love Recruiting coach. He's coming into our organization. He's going to bring his experience, his wisdom, his ability to coach at a really high level into our organization. And my friend, I couldn't be more excited. I couldn't be more proud. We've wanted to be in business together for so long, and it just makes me, I get goosebumps thinking about it. I'm super excited.
I'm excited as well, Adam. Thank you, man.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So for all of those that would like to learn more about Michael, where can they go find you, Michael?
Well, we've got a nice little bio we just posted on the iloverecruiting.com website.
That's true. Yep.
But other than that, you can, we're on Facebook, Michael Brown. And then we have the Greenville's Property Couple is our business Facebook page.
Okay.
So all of that, we stay super busy. We're blessed to be busy in the area and getting really good leverage these days. So we're excited to help anybody out there we can, man.
Yep, absolutely. So here's what's going to happen. So I am full for clients. I'm no longer taking clients. We have a wait list, and that wait list now is going to go to Michael Brown. And then Michael Brown's going to have a threshold as well. And as soon as he finishes that threshold, which is no more than roughly 12 to 15 clients is what he's only going to take. And then we will bring on another coach. So we're super excited for that. But right now, in the present moment in time, Michael Brown is on the I Love Recruiting team. And I'm excited. So here's what I want you to do. A couple things. You can go to iloverecruiting.com right now. Scroll down to the bottom of the page. Tell us that you're interested in coaching, whether it's group coaching or one-on-one coaching. Someone from the organization will reach right out to you. We'll get you involved, help you grow your organization where you're looking to grow to. And we're super excited to offer this to everybody. Michael, any parting words here that we want to say to any of our listeners?
Yeah, I heard this, Adam. I don't know if it's a call you're on before, or just in the last couple of weeks, I've never heard this before that just smacked me upside the face. Rich people work hard. So that most of us, wasn't born with a silver spoon, but we have a chance to, what you define wealth as is different for different people. But for me, with 4 beautiful children, blended family and extended family, setting goals and trying to hit those goals to enjoy retirement like never before. My coaches helped me work through that. What am I trying to accomplish? I would say for anybody out there, what are your goals? As you said, short term, long term, and once you determine what those goals are, and don't be afraid to shoot for the stars. That's maybe a corny term we've heard too many times, but reality is, if you don't aim high, how are you ever going to reach high?
Very true.
So,
well, that's why we have the vision at the I Love Recruiting Company. The vision statement is to empower recruiters with an asterisk next to it, to empower recruiters to change 100 million lives. That's our goal, Michael Brown. That's our goal. And now here's what we say with the asterisk: everyone's a recruiter. Right. Yep. And that's why we're going to help them with our systems, with our models, with our platforms, with our software, with our coaching. We're going to help as many people as we can recruit, retain, grow their organizations, build their life worth living, business worth owning. We know that saying, and I'm super excited to help everybody. Yeah, so everybody, this has been the I Love Recruiting podcast. If you are live right now with us in the Art of Recruiting, thanks for being with us. My name is Adam Roach. I'm your host. We got Michael Brown with us, and this has been your podcast. See you guys. Bye.
See ya.